What's up, everybody? Welcome to Best Massage Tech, where today I'm taking a look at the SLS3 air compression therapy system. So the SLS3 air compression therapy system is what I like to call a compression recovery boot. It is a product that's designed to move lymphatic fluid. It helps reduce swelling, helps reduce soreness, improve recovery time. And this product specifically is one that's a mid-tier level product, I'd say, based on the price point. It is currently priced at $749. So it's not the most expensive on the market, but it's also not the cheapest. So today I'm going to take a look at everything that comes with the product out of the box, and then I will try them on and show you guys a little bit of the features and specifications of these recovery boots. So out of the box, everything comes in a convenient carry case. The carry case is a soft-sided case. It has the SLS3 branding on it. It has a nice reinforced carry handle, and it has two zippers. And when you open the zippers, you'll see room for everything. And then you also have a zippered pouch up here that has a shoulder strap for the case if you want to put that on. But otherwise, everything else comes inside of it, and you get quite a few different pieces because there is some assembly that's required. The first thing that you'll see when you open the case is the pump itself. So this pump also houses the control system and the control panel where you choose all of your modes and functions. You're also going to get a full color user manual, which is going to walk you through step by step of the assembly of your device. And then once you have it assembled, it's going to show you which zones and chambers are going to fill with each mode that you select. And then lastly, you also get a remote. And with this remote, you can control the pressure, you can control the time, you can control the modes, you can pause your massage. So a lot of control with this little tiny remote, but probably one of the coolest features of it. And this is the first device like this that I've seen that comes with a remote. So I'm excited to check this out. And then additionally, you have the boots themselves. So you get two of them. They've got the SLS3 branding on one side, and then a little bit of SLS3 branding on the other side. So you do get one for each leg. And then you also get a few other parts that you have to put together. So the hoses do not come attached to the boots yet, and neither does this connector. So the very first thing you actually have to do is on the housing system itself, there is a sticker on the top that says, "Warning, before using the device, open the filter cover and remove the screw." So that's something I thought was kind of interesting. And so if you flip it over to the bottom, there's this little compartment right here that it opens up, and there's just this screw that was inside of it that you have to unscrew. I don't really understand why that's there. I'm guessing it's some sort of safety mechanism of some sort for while it's being shipped, but I just thought that was kind of interesting. Once you've got the screw taken out, then you need to attach the hoses to the boots themselves. So inside of this little Velcroed part here, you see each hose attaches to the chamber individually. You have to connect all of those to each boot, and then there's also a connector piece where each hose goes to this connector, which then gets plugged into the pump. So these all come separately in different pieces. And on each of the hoses and the connectors, they have a little cap that goes on them and just snaps on just to make sure that no dirt or anything's getting inside of them, I'm assuming, when they are disconnected. So you just have to squeeze the edges and take that off. And then when you're connecting the hoses to the connector piece, there is a little triangle section that's on each one of them that you just need to make sure is lined up so that the zones correlate to the right areas when you do have it plugged in. So it's real easy to attach those. You just have to make sure that those triangles are lined up, and then just go ahead and push it into the holes. You take kind of these little fingers, I guess you could call them, and then it all connects in there. And then you take this connector hose, and same thing, you need to find the side that has a little triangle, and on the side of your pump, just plug it in, and then you're all set up. It took me I don't know, probably 8 minutes to get everything fully set up and just figure out what went where, just to make sure that I had it all set up appropriately. Once you have it all set up and you are ready to use it, the boots have 4 different zones or chambers. So you have one that's in the foot, one that's in the calf, one that's in the knee, and then one that's in the thigh. You have about 23 different pressure settings. So it starts off, you can start it as low as 30 millimeters of mercury and go all the way up to 250 millimeters of mercury. And that's just a measurement of pressure, that millimeters of mercury. I think it's kind of interesting that it goes as high as it does. They advertise that they're the highest compression recovery boot pressure on the market. But from the research that I've done, that seems a little bit dangerous just because your diastolic blood pressure is typically around 80. So you shouldn't really need it to go anywhere much above 80 to actually move fluids out of your legs. And I've actually read a little bit online that if you get too high, you're almost creating a tourniquet situation. So just, I find it really, really interesting that it does go that high. When I was using it, I didn't go any higher than 120 just because it does start to feel pretty high pressure at that point already. And certainly if you're able to maintain it and withstand that pressure, you know, if you're a healthy individual, you're not gonna hurt anything for a few seconds, but I'd just be very, very cautious on going anything, you know, overly high when you are putting these boots on. In order to put them on, there is a zipper that runs along the shin of each boot. So you just put your leg in, run your foot through the bottom of the boot, and then you can just zip it back up. Now you want to make sure when you have these on that the hoses are on the inside. So once you have both boots on, that's how you know that you've got the boot on the correct foot. The hose should be on the inside of your inseam. Once you turn it on, it's going to take a few minutes to start to inflate. Just as the pressure builds up in each chamber, and it will depend on which mode and everything that you have it set up to. So with the different modes, you have 6 different modes that you can choose from. They just call them modes A, B, C, D, E, and F. So on mode A, it's going to fill one zone at a time, starting with your foot. So it'll fill up the foot for a few seconds, pause, start to deflate, then start to fill up the calf, pause, start to deflate, then start to fill up, and just cycle up your leg and then start down at the bottom again. In mode B, it's going to fill up the foot, then fill up the calf, then fill up the knee, then fill up the thigh, and then deflate the whole boot at once. Mode C, it's going to do 2 zones at once, so it'll do the foot and the calf, deflate those, then it'll do the knee and the thigh, and just continue to rotate that for whatever time setting you have. Mode D is going to take all of the zones, inflate them all at once, and then deflate them all, and just continually recycle that. Mode E is going to do all of mode A, then follow it by mode B. So it's going to go one zone at a time, and then it's going to build up the zones and then deflate the whole boot at once. And then mode F is C and D at the same time. So it's going to do the foot and the calf, deflate it, knee and the thigh, deflate it, and then it's going to inflate all of the boot and then deflate it and then start back over with the foot and the calf. So quite a few different options there. You do also have the option to select individual chambers if you want to turn them on or off. That's something else that I find a little bit interesting with it, just because you can inflate the foot, skip the calf, and then do the knee and the thigh, which if you're trying to move fluid and you have a section that's not actually inflating, you're never going to move that fluid past that section. So interesting concept there, just with the capability of doing that. And then the other thing I'll say is, one thing that's different with these boots from what I've seen and researched on some of the more expensive boots is that the chambers or the bladders that fill with air, they don't actually overlap. So you've got basically chambers that are right next to each other. So once one of them deflates and the other one starts to inflate, there's an opportunity for some backflow to happen there. So if you are trying to move fluid, you need to have those chambers overlap so there's continuous pressure moving that fluid up. So just one kind of small thing that I've noticed with those. So I will go ahead and put both boots on now here. I'll turn it on and just show a little bit of what the different functions look like, and then I'll talk a little bit more about some of the features of this product. So in order to turn the device on, you just press the power button. And then as soon as you have the setting, so right now I have it set for 10 minutes at 120 millimeters of mercury, and I have it in zone A. So once I'm ready, I'll just go ahead and press the play button here. And the inflate time on this, it's gonna take a few minutes to get up to that full pressure, just because it does take about 2 cycles between each zone to build up that pressure. But one thing you'll notice right away once you do turn it on is how quiet this is. It is super quiet, barely can hear it. I measured it to be around 55 decibels, which is really not very noticeable at all. You can hear me talking over this fine. You barely hear it running. I'd say, you know, it's just a very quiet hum. Lift it up to my mic here. So the sizing of these boots comes in 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large. The small is measured for people up to 5'3". The medium is 5'4" to 6'2". So I have the medium boots, I'm 5'8". And then they have a large, which is 6'2" and up. There is no sort of Bluetooth app or anything like that that's compatible with this, but you do have the remote. So you can still control everything that you would most likely control with an app. It is not battery powered. So in terms of portability, you are limited to the distance you are from an outlet. But the good thing with it is that it has a 10-foot long cord on it. And then in addition to the 10-foot long cord, you have 5 feet of hose. So you can really get about 15 feet away from any sort of outlet and still be able to use this pretty easily. Plus it has this carry handle, so you can take it kind of around the room with you as needed. But the fact that it has a 10-foot cord, you should be pretty good to find an outlet anywhere near, you know, where you want to set up with it. Now it is recommended that you are in a neutral position. So they do recommend, you know, having your legs elevated a little bit. It just helps with fluid a little bit more. So that's why I'm in a laying down position here. When you have it on and you've got your mode selected, you can go all the way up to 60 minutes of use. And with that, you can continuously add time if you'd like. So there's no sort of auto shut off function or anything like that. And you can continue to adjust if you want to get more pressure or less pressure, more time, less time, change the modes, change the zones. You can do all that, you know, while you're mid-section. So if right now, if I decided I want to go up to 130, 140, real easy to do. And I'll show it just with the remote here too. Change the pressure. There you go. So you'll see the boots are starting to inflate. They kind of get what I call the marshmallow effect. They get real puffy. So I can start to feel that pressure, but I would say they're just now probably starting to get to that full pressure. So it's probably been 2 or 3 cycles here. You know, so just something to keep in mind when you are setting that time. You want to add a couple minutes just to let it fill up with air. Now, I mentioned it does come with the case. It is currently $750. It does come with a 2-year warranty, so you're going to be set for the first 2 years. If anything goes wrong, SLS3 is going to take care of you with that. So that's an awesome benefit of it, as well as a 60-day money-back guarantee. So if you purchase this thinking it's going to do something and you're not satisfied, and you can you know, test it out within those first 60 days, you can send it back and they'll ask no questions. They'll give you a full refund. So something to keep in mind there. I know it's a high price tag, so you know, they're willing to, you know, work with you for 60 days if you want to just check it out and see if it's right for you. Now, a few other notes on it. I talked about the pressure getting really high. The assembly of it, to me, is just an unnecessary step. It seems like something that should come assembled already. I only have tried a few of these out, but none of them did I have to assemble in the way that I had to assemble these. So I was a little bit disappointed with that. I also mentioned the zones, how I think it's a little weird that you can turn off, you know, one middle zone here when the intent is to try to move fluids. Now, certainly there's some other benefits to it as well. You know, just to try to decrease inflammation of one specific area. Maybe you got a swollen ankle or something. You're just trying to focus on your foot. I guess that would help with that. But in terms of the overall intent of what I understand these are made for, it just seems a little bit odd. But I do really like the fact that it has the remote. I really like the price point. I think it's a very fair price point when you look at what's out on the market there. I think it's really, really easy to use. And I do really like the warranty on it. I do wish it had the overlapping chambers on it. And I wish that they came up a little bit higher. So I don't know if you can fully see here, but there's probably about 10 more inches of my thigh that I wish it would get to, but it's just limited a bit by how far up these come. And I'm sure I could probably resolve that by getting a bigger size, just because I do have a little bit longer inseam than what my height typically correlates to. But that's just one other piece of feedback that I'd have. I wish they were just a little bit longer. And I'll continue to pump these up here a little bit, just because I feel like they're not fully inflated yet. I thought they were getting there, but... And again, with this too, you want to make sure you're not sitting on any of your hoses. You don't want to have any kinks or anything like that. But once you have the mode that you want, just sit back, relax, and then kind of let it massage you and enjoy it. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this product for the price point. I think it does a relatively good job. Again, I've not reviewed a ton of these, so I'm going to continue to try some different brands and learn a little bit more about how these stack up against each other. I expect that I'll be doing more of a comparison review of a few different products sometime in the near future. But if you have specific questions about the SLS3 compression recovery boots, go ahead and drop them in the comments down below. But otherwise, that is the SLS3 air compression therapy system. That's a review.